Are you serious? Are you serious? You knew it wouldn't take long. Hezbollah's coming after Israel. Now the Iranians have jumped in. An article that issued at the Jerusalem Post, we have a stern warning now coming from the Iranians. They have just said, according to the Jerusalem Post, Iran is saying Trump's Jerusalem move will hasten Israel's destruction. All right. So it's very similar to what Hezbollah was saying in the last video I did. Matter of fact, Benjamin Netanyahu told the European Union, even though they all give him a big fat no, we do not agree with you declaring Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Netanyahu tells them, you need to stop spoiling the Palestinians. You need to stop, because basically what you're doing is you're coddling leaders that have destroyed those people's hopes. They've had so many opportunities to work with the Israelis, and this Hamas has hijacked the Palestinian Authority. And Mahmoud Abbas is a weak leader. Well, now the Iranians have come out, and according to Beirut, in Beirut, Lebanon, reports are that Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital will hasten the country's destruction. And Iran's defense minister said on yesterday, while a top Revolutionary Guards commander phoned 2 Palestinian armed groups and pledged to support them. So you have an Iranian Revolutionary Guard general on the phone calling the Palestinian Authority armed groups, which is Hamas, okay? And Hamas is a terrorist organization. So is Iran. Leaders of Iran were opposition to Israel, and support for Palestinian cause has been central to their foreign policy since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, and have denounced last week's announcement by the United States President Donald J. Trump to declare Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and America to move its U.S. embassy to the city of Jerusalem. The Palestinians want East Jerusalem as their capital of a future state. But Trump's step will hasten the destruction, said the Iranians, of the Zionist regime, and will double the unity of the Muslims. Iran's defense minister, Brigadier General Amir Hattamadi, he said yesterday, according to state-run media in Iran. The Army's Chief of Staff, General Mohammed Barkri, said that Trump's foolish move could be seen as the beginning of a new intifada, or Palestinian uprising. Iran has long supported a number of anti-Israeli militant groups, including the military wing of Lebanon-based Hezbollah, with which the deputy commander of the Iranian elite Revolutionary Guard, Brigadier General Hassan Salami. Don't forget that guy. Hassan Salami. This guy is a butcher. He's a murderer. He is a beast. And he is now one of Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard. He is the Brigadier General. Remember, he was in prison for quite a while, and they just got let out when Obama. Do you remember when Obama released the frozen assets? $1 billion of frozen assets of the Iranians during the Iranian nuke deal. Part of that releasing of frozen assets was the release of this Revolutionary Guard Brigadier General Hassan Salami. He was released and given freedom to lead the Revolutionary Guard again, with a lot more cash and weaponry that the Iranians were able to purchase from the Russians. It was Obama who released him and the assets. People don't realize that. And now this Salami is going to be the guy who leads the armies of Iran against Jerusalem. And he said, we are stronger than the Zionist regime. Now, also, Qasem Soleimani the head of the branch of the Revolutionary Guards that oversees the operations outside of Iran's borders, pledged that the Islamic Republic's complete support for Palestinian Islamic resistant movements after phone calls with commanders from the Islamic Jihad and Izzi al-Din Qassam brigades, the armed groups that are involved. So what you're getting here is a push, a strong push by the Iranians. Hezbollah and the Iranians are rising up and declaring a new intifada, a new coalition. They're calling on the Arabic world to come together against Israel. And guess what? While this is going on by these two guys, the Iranians and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, guess who's holding a summit tomorrow on December 13th? Turkey's Prime President Erdogan is holding an Islamic, he calls it, an Islamic summit in Istanbul, Turkey, in which he's calling all of the Muslim nations of the world together to get ready to go to battle with Israel, to take back Jerusalem. So folks, here we go. I'm telling you, they have begun to pull together. They've always wanted to, but now you may see the Psalms 83 war. Now I must remind them, if you want to look at biblical prophecy, what happens if they attack Israel? First of all, Jerusalem is the cup of trembling. The Bible said in Zechariah 12, verse 2, it says, "Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah," which is the West Bank, and Judea area and Samaria, and against Jerusalem. "And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it." So there's going to be a time when Jerusalem becomes the cup of trembling. I believe it's begun. I believe we're now in the Zechariah 12 prophetic time of the cup of trembling and the formation of coalitions to vocally now, very, very vocally, come against Israel, including the United Nations may. And if you go on, you'll know that this is what the Lord said he would do. Remember, the Lord does not break covenants. He said in verse 8, "In that day," I'm in Zechariah 12, verse 8, "In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them in that day shall be as David." Remember when David killed Goliath? "And the house of David, well, they shall be as God." What? "As the angel of the Lord before them." Then the Lord says, here comes revival because of this. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will then pour out upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication. And they shall look upon me whom they pierced. That would be the Messiah. That would be Yeshua, whom they pierced in the side as he hung on the cross. They will look upon me, Yeshua, whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one that would mourn for his only son. They will realize that Jesus of Nazareth, okay, and recognize him as the Son of God in a mighty, mighty way. So these are biblical events taking place. We're now in, folks, we have been living through the Arab Spring of Daniel chapter 11, 41 through 45. We've been living through the destruction of Damascus in Isaiah 17:1. We've went through the burden of Egypt. We're still in process though in Isaiah chapter 19 with Muhammad Mercy and the idols moved and all of these things and Egyptian and brother against brother and all that. We've been seeing that. But now we're moved into Zechariah 12, the cup of trembling. So Hezbollah in the last video I just did, now Iran is coming after Israel with their words, and they're starting to build. Tomorrow will be Turkey and the Islamic summit. The EU gave Benjamin Netanyahu a big fat no yesterday in Brussels. You're beginning to see the world building a coalition against Israel. It's a process. It isn't done overnight. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. But the formation has begun. Give your life to Jesus Christ. You're living in the last days. So I don't know when we're leaving. Look, I got a DVD out on Rapture Ready. Look, nobody knows the day nor the hour. No, not the angels in heaven, not the Son of God, but the Father only. But I can tell you, we can see the day approaching. Are you ready if the Lord should come? Or will you be left behind?